Hello and welcome to our first podcast called On the Verge. On the Verge will consist of NFL players retiring, coming back from injury, or getting cut from the team, and even coaches getting fired or leaving their team, and we'll discuss how that will affect the team in years in the future. Today I'm here with Briar Persing, and our first topic today will be the NFL draft class. Right now, the Chicago Bears have the first pick, but there's a lot of rumors around going Justin Fields leaving, and mainly the Atlanta Falcons are most likely to pick him up if anything like that happens from what rumors around. But what are the odds, Parker, you'd say the Chicago Bears will release Justin Fields and pick up another young QB like Caleb Williams, J.J. McCarthy, or Drake May?
I think ultimately they're going to realize that they need to stay with Justin Fields and that he's their best option. I think they'll go with the wide receiver early in the draft, possibly Marvin Harrison Jr. or Washington's Romeo Dunze. But I think they ultimately know that Justin Fields is their best option and they'll stick with him.
And like you said, Marvin Harrison Jr., him and Justin Fields both went to Ohio State, and at Ohio State, they made the semifinals with that group.
Something like that, yeah.
I think they lost to Georgia, but with that group, they were dominant. Like, with that type of talent as a QB, and people are saying he's a running back now, kind of like Lamar Jackson is compared to. But I feel like he's put in a bad situation to where if he has some surrounding guys like Marvin Harrison Jr., he can be great.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think Marvin Harrison will definitely add some weapons to the Bears' offense, and I think it'll help Justin Fields out a big amount.
So one big guy who was projected to go number one basically the whole entire year was Caleb Williams, and everyone grew hype around USC during the year, like the beginning, but then they kind of had like a little downfall era where they started losing teams they shouldn't have. And I don't say Caleb Williams kind of like gets away from the game, but I feel like he's not as worried as the game. I feel like he's more worried about making money, because you can see like the NIL deals and like commercials. He did a lot of them. So like, what's your opinion on Caleb Williams?
Yeah, I think he's definitely a little bit more distracted than some of the other college QBs, and I think that definitely plays a big role in it. But I think he knows his limits and that he needs to stay a little bit more focused. But I definitely do think that there's a little bit there that's getting him away from the game. So yeah.
I think Caleb Williams is a great quarterback and has the talent to do basically almost anything. But I feel like he just needs to stay focused a little bit more. And like some people that are really focused, in my opinion, are Drake May and J.J. McCarthy. I feel like they were kind of like low-level guys. And I don't think J.J. McCarthy will go that high. I think Drake May will get picked higher than J.J. McCarthy. But how do you think J.J. McCarthy will play out in the NFL just coming off the national championship? And I wouldn't say he was like the main guy in that Michigan offense, but he definitely had a big factor to it.
Yeah, I think when he gets to the NFL, I think it's going to be a rough transition at first because he didn't throw that much at Michigan, their running offense. But I think he has potential, and I think he could possibly be a top quarterback eventually.
Another thing, which I will be honest, I haven't paid much attention to him, but I don't know about you, is Drake May. I know North Carolina, I think they started off decent and then kind of went downhill from there. But what's your opinion on Drake May?
Yeah, I think Drake May is a guy you can see getting drafted as the first quarterback in the draft this year, but I think he's very focused. He can make all the throws that you expect from a quarterback, and I think he'll fit into any offense in the NFL very well, and I think he's a guy that can lead the team to win right away.
So like another big QB is Jaden Daniels, just coming off the Heisman. He's a Heisman winner. Led LSU to a good season, you could say. Not their most dominant, but in your eyes, what do you see from Jaden Daniels? Because he's been through a lot. He's a senior, so he has to declare for the draft. He's been through injuries. What do you think he will be? Will you think he can kind of be like a role, kind of like Joe Burrow has been now from LSU? Or do you think he's kind of like one of those guys where like he's just put in a situation and has to deal with it?
I don't think that highly of Jaden Daniels. I think he was just blessed with some good wide receivers like Malik Neighbors and other guys like that. But I'm not saying he has no potential, but I just don't see him. He's not very big. I think he's gonna get hurt a lot in the NFL, and I think it might be a rude awakening for him. But it depends on what team he goes to. But it could be rough for him, in my opinion.
Another big role player, but they also got hurt last year for most of the year, is Brock Bowers. He declared for the draft, and he's a pretty big target for tight end. Can move, is elusive, and do you think he can be, you could say, the next Travis Kelce or Gronkowski or someone like that?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of scouts are talking about him being the most highly scouted guy for the NFL in history of tight ends. But I think he definitely has a lot of potential. I mean, he's shown signs every year he's been in college. I think he's a big guy. I think eventually he'll kind of start getting hurt less, and he's gonna rehab a lot more of that stuff that he hasn't been. But yeah, I think he will eventually get up to those standards in tight ends.
We can talk about another QB, Michael Penix Jr., senior from Washington. What do you think his NFL career will hold for him?
I really like Michael Penix. I think he had a very good year last year. I think he also could have won the Heisman. I mean, it's kind of neck and neck between him and Jaden Daniels. But I know a lot of people don't think too highly of left-handed quarterbacks, and it's very rare for the NFL. But I think he's definitely a guy. He's electric. I mean, he makes plays, and he's just a playmaker. So I think he could fit in very well and have a good year right off the bat.
I guess you could say in the Pac-12 conference. Well, there's no longer going to be a Pac-12, but Bo Nix. He's a senior. He went to Auburn. It was his family tradition to go to Auburn. Almost felt like his dad went. But then he transferred, I think, after his freshman or sophomore year to go to Oregon and put up great numbers there. People really compared him to Justin Herbert. I think Bo Nix can be the guy for an NFL team, but at the same time, I feel like he's not mature enough. What's your opinion?
I think Bo Nix he's an average guy, I think, in my opinion. I think he won't be that great in the NFL. He gets a lot of turnovers, and I don't know. I just don't see him being that good. But if you're a younger team who's looking for a quarterback in the future, I think he could be a guy that's on your radar. But I don't see him being anything much more than that.
So our next topic is going to be coaches and just everyone leaving. A big thing right now is Jim Harbaugh leaving Michigan and going to the Chargers. What do you think that will happen? What do you think is going to happen for the Chargers? Because they've been kind of going a little downhill slope these past couple years with their coaching staff, and him bringing a new, you can say, mentality, just coming off the national championship at Michigan. What do you think that's going to bring the Chargers?
I think the Chargers are bringing a great coach and great leader, and I think he's ultimately going to end up going to the Chargers and being a very great coach, and he's going to have many good years with them, I think. He's going into the Chargers with a great QB, a good foundation. There's talks about Austin Eckler possibly leaving this offseason. And I don't know. I think he will still be great this year, and I'm interested to see what's going to go on there.
And if the rumors are true about Austin Eckler leaving the Chargers, what do you think the predictions will be for the season?
I think they'll still be fine without him. I mean, he's a great back, but I know they got guys behind him. They could even draft a running back in the upcoming draft. But Jim Harbaugh's coming in there with a good, nice QB to start out with, and Justin Herbert, and I feel like he's ready to win, and he can do that.
If they do draft a running back, do you think he would draft one of his Michigan running backs? Because he's been with him for their whole entire career, basically, at Michigan, has been around them, knows what they do, know what they like, and what are the odds do you think he will draft someone from Michigan?
I think the odds of that are very good. I think if they do end up drafting a running back, I think Blake Corum could be the move because like you said, Jim Harbaugh's been with him a long time, and he knows what he's got to the table, and he's a nice winning running back, and he'll bring that to the Chargers.
So we'll move on to our next coach is Bill Belichick and the Patriots. And I'm not exactly sure how long Bill Belichick's been at the Patriots, but basically to sum it up, he's been there for a long time. And he was a winning coach, very winning coach. He won multiple Super Bowls. What do you think that will have to do for the Patriots? Do you think they're going to keep going down like they have been like the past couple years? They've slowed down recently. Or do you think that they're going to excel with a new coach and new coaching staff?
Well, like you said, Bill Belichick has actually been there for 24 seasons with the Patriots. So I think if when a guy like that leaves a team, it's just not going to be the same. And I don't think the players are going to pick up very well. I think they're going to start out where they left off last year, and I don't think their season's going to be very good this year. That's just my opinion, but I mean, they could shock everyone, but I just don't see it happening.
And as we're kind of on the topic of the Patriots, what do you think is going to happen with Mac Jones?
He had a rough season this year. I'm not saying he couldn't get better, but I just think they're going to move on from him, and I think they're going to draft a quarterback. You could even see Drake May go to the Patriots this year.
I say he's projected to go to the Patriots.
Yeah,
right now.
I could see that happening very easily.
I would say Mac Jones, I'm not saying he's a bad quarterback, but like I feel like in the situation he was kind of threw in, kind of wasn't a very good situation because you didn't really have much surrounding characters. I mean, they got Mike Gesicki, which he's a good tight end, but what was it, his rookie year he made the Pro Bowl, I think?
Yeah, I think so.
And I think he wasn't even starting at the beginning of the year. I think he came in for, who was it? Bailey Zappi maybe, I don't know. But he came in and kind of showed what he was at Bama and kind of like continued to grow, but then these past couple of years he's slowly decreased.
Yeah, I agree. I think Mac Jones, he just got put into a better team when he was a rookie, so it wasn't as bad as this year because this year they didn't really have any offensive weapons, and I think that was just really the main factor of what led to him having a bad season.
Just to keep moving on, we can move to Dan Campbell and the Lions because I think this is his third year coaching and has turned the team around tremendously. I don't know what the record was when they came in, but this year making the AFC championship in his third year. Last year, I think AFC, my bad. NFC, sorry. He came back and kind of helped rebuild the team. But, like, what do you think will happen in the near future? Will they continue to grow, or is it kind of like that one season happening?
I think they really surprised everyone this year. I mean, some people thought it was coming, but I don't think anybody thought that they were going to be a 12-5 team. But I think Dan Campbell really just turned things around, and he has things going in the right track. And I think they will build off of that, and they went to NFC Championship this year, and I think they could go even further if they really continue to grow from last year.
Just one thing about Dan Campbell, he was a former NFL player. So, like, in his eyes, he knows what works and what doesn't work. And I'm not saying, like, other coaches don't, but I feel like he has a little bit of an advantage to all the other coaches because he was a former player.
Yeah, I feel like he definitely should know the game a lot better than some people. Being an NFL player, I mean, you have to know a lot about the game, and I think that's what makes him such a good coach. I mean, he's got the fiery competitiveness in him, and I think that really just helps. I mean, the team comes together around him because they believe in him. So, yeah, I definitely think that he's got an advantage compared to other coaches.
You could say, like, with him having a good year last year, what do you think is going to happen next year? Do you think they'll be in the same spot they were, or no?
I think they'll be better than what they were. I think they'll... Well, I mean, actually, the NFC Championship's hard to get to, so I could see them losing before that because the playoffs, once you get to the playoffs, it really just
nothing really matters anymore.
Yeah.
Because we saw multiple first seeds go down early this year.
Yep. Yeah, so I think they have a chance of getting past the NFC Championship, but it's a hard task, and I don't know.
And to keep moving forward, we're going to players and teams. One big team and one big player right now are the Chiefs and Patrick Mahomes. Patrick Mahomes just won his third Super Bowl, and really impressive thing was they won it back-to-back. And for as young as he is, it's really impressive because I think Tom Brady's done it, but he was a veteran at the time. He wasn't as young as Patrick Mahomes. And what are the odds they'll go back-to-back-to-back?
I think it's very slim odds because I don't think any NFL team has ever won 3 straight Super Bowls. So, I mean, Mahomes has got a big task. I mean, if he can win 3 straight Super Bowls and become the first person to ever do that, I think he might be in the GOAT conversations with Tom Brady. But, yeah, I mean, I just can't see it happening, but I'm not saying there's not a chance. So that's how I feel about that.
I think for the Chiefs, I think they're like slowly decreasing at the same time as well, because during the middle of the year we saw them have like a little breakdown. Patrick Mahomes was getting frustrated all the time. Travis Kelce was doing his thing with Taylor Swift, and I feel like he was getting distracted from the game a little bit, and everything kind of just like downgraded for the Chiefs. What's your opinion on that?
Yeah, I definitely think they hit rock bottom there in the middle of the season for a while. But they're one of those teams who they know when it's time to go that they need to pick it up and they can win. But Patrick Mahomes, I think he realized that it was time to go, and he just started picking things up. And once it got to playoffs, he knew it was his game all the time.
So another big team in the AFC that has beaten Patrick Mahomes is Joe Burrow and the Bengals. And with Joe Burrow being out last year for, I think, a little over half the year or something like that, what are your expectations for Joe Burrow coming back and the Bengals?
I think they're going to be a team to look out for because, as we all know, Joe Burrow and the Bengals, they were very good in the past 3 years until last year. I mean, and they still weren't even that bad with their backup quarterback. So, I mean, I think Joe Burrow's going to come back stronger than he has ever been, and I think he could lead them to possibly even another Super Bowl appearance.
And I think if I'm right, Joe Burrow has a winning record against Patrick Mahomes, which not many QBs can say that.
Right. Yeah, it's definitely a hard thing to beat Patrick Mahomes, but he's the guy who can do it. So if anyone does it, it's going to be him.
So another big team who lost their quarterback was the Vikings, and they also lost Justin Jefferson, but he came back. But Kirk Cousins was out for the rest of the year. And there's a little glimpse of them at the beginning of the year towards the middle of the year where people started calling them contenders. What's your opinion on that? Because, like, in my opinion, I think they were not contenders, but I think they were a high-level team to where they could be contenders if everything fell in the right place.
Yeah, I don't know. I agree with you. I don't think they were contenders. I think they were playing very well against bad teams. But I think, I don't know, I just can't see them doing very much. Even with Kirk Cousins coming back off an injury, I just think he's getting to that point of his age and career that he's just not going to be very good anymore. I mean, it's a sad truth, but he's never really been that much of a winning quarterback, but that's pretty much all I got to say about them.
Do you think they will draft a QB in the draft?
I think you could see them drafting a quarterback late in the draft, maybe 4th, 5th round. I mean, they have to have a backup plan because Kirk Cousins, like I said, he's getting old, and he could be getting injured any time during the season. I mean, anybody could, but I think he's just more, what's the word? More, I don't know, we'll come back to you on that one, but yeah, I just think he might get injured more than others.
Now we move on to your favorite topic, the Cowboys and Dak Prescott. And I'll let you kind of take the mic for this one because I don't really know a whole lot about them. But what's your opinions on them, and what do you think is going to happen next year for them?
Yeah, many people are talking about if he should get an extension or not. I'm a firm believer in him, and I think he should get the contract extension. I'm not saying he should be the highest paid quarterback in the NFL, but that's what it's looking to be if he does get the extension. He just came off of his best season, arguably, and I think he should have been the MVP. I mean, he beat every other quarterback in every throwing stat, and I don't think Lamar Jackson deserved it, and I think Dak did. Unbiased opinion.
That is a biased opinion.
But I do think Dak does deserve the extension. I think eventually he will lead this team to a Super Bowl win. And, yeah.
I don't really know about Parker's opinion about the Super Bowl, but I think they definitely have a talented team. I don't want to say Dak's holding them back, but at the same time I feel like he is because how non-consistent he is. There's times where he's a great QB and, like you said, an MVP frontrunner, but he's not always consistent.
Yeah, I can agree with you on that one. But I think the team knows that it's time. They haven't won a Super Bowl in, I think, since like 1990-something.
A long time.
Yeah, a very long time. So I think they know it's like time to turn on the switch a little bit here, and they got to win soon. So I think the team's going to come around them, and I think eventually they will get a deep playoff run at least, if not a Super Bowl.
We'll move on to our next topic, and which nothing really is as big as Jason Kelce. Do you think he will confirm his retirement, or do you think he will stick around for maybe 1 or 2 more years and try to get that Super Bowl win?
I don't think he will confirm his retirement. I mean, we've seen players do it before, like Tom Brady, and he came back and won a Super Bowl. So I think Jason Kelce, I think he's going to come back, and he's looking for something more. I think he wants a Super Bowl. I mean, who doesn't want a Super Bowl? But he's been chasing one, and I think he will come back and look for that Super Bowl win.
I think the Eagles would be in a very tough spot if they don't have Jason Kelce.
Yeah, I agree.
That's it for the first episode of podcast On the Verge, and be looking forward for the next upload, hopefully in the next few weeks. Thank you.